ngibheka ama-chance abawayenzile. I-first chance lo Ronwini ithi nginyaka.
Yeah.
Ithe ngithi ngavele ngathi here we go again.
Sundowns were baiting Pirates, and Pirates would take the bait. Right? So they'll build. Even the goal came like that. They'll build up, but they'll take the ball back, and Jaden was always the way out. Because I have a faith the window will unpack Pirates. Ukare Masindi was assigned to try to press Jaden. Hey, I didn't go well, eh?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the State of Football, where the game meets opinion, memory, and insight. We're back with another banger. Just seen the biggest game in South African football. But before we get into the game, I'm your host, Thabo Mpilo. Mpoza, are you nice?
Grand Incha.
Tsepo, are you good?
Sanbonani.
Pep,
What to do?
100%. Ejo, ukhutlile mkhotsi, kutlawara mbonzi or hamstring, no etsalang, are you good?
Sanbonani.
Injury.
Ana do faka mo benchi mo je ice.
Never was about Tsepo guy. No, Tsepo's here to stay, so let's get that out the way. Mara, before, gents, we just had pretty much the biggest game of the season so far. At the cathedral of South African football, the pinnacle, the apex. Orlando Pirates, Mamelodi Sundowns. I don't even want us to discuss tactics first. We'll get there, right? I just wanted to talk about the game as a spectacle, as an event, the quality of the football, the crowd, the vibe. Mpoza, don't know we won Ntwana. Like Nedi Wane.
I think it was a great advert for South African football. I think we can be proud, Joe. We've really got a good league. And I think this game really shows that, you know. I think the crowd, the quality of the football, which we'll get into, I think everything was just excellent. I mean, after that, when I struggled because I'm trying to watch Stoke, aka Arsenal. I could not even watch that because of the quality that I just, you know. Overall, jokes aside, it was great football, and yeah, I think as a spectacle, 10 out of 10 for me.
You can't ask for anything else.
That's as good as it gets.
I wonder if we keep a standard stadium Mzansi, the supporter, the backer, the team so.
Yeah.
Bafethu league ya rona ya somewhere.
Yeah, we can't ask for anything else.
Yeah, no, to be honest, 60,000 tickets or close to 60,000 tickets sold.
Yeah.
Credit to the Masanda fans who made it to FNB Stadium, more especially on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
People normally work. People normally that understand that the stadium culture are people that are about 9 to 5 majority, because it's also a very expensive lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
I know there's people that do other things that can afford that lifestyle, but majority of the people that travel from province to province, it's a culture in South African football.
Yeah.
There's some branches that make it a culture. Credit to the Orlando Pirates supporters for making sure that the calabash is almost fully packed. We were well represented as a country. I think the black as well as the yellow and blue, I think the Brazilians as well came to the party. Orlando Pirates came to the party as well. I think more especially in the second half and how they applied themselves throughout the game. They came up against a team that understands and knows how to win the title. They understand control over emotions. Mamelodi Sundowns went into that game and had control. They understood that being emotional might be giving Orlando Pirates an advantage. I did say with Tebs in Mangla, going to the Calabash is making the game neutral. And you could feel that Orlando Pirates had attack, but Mamelodi Sundowns had the ball retention and ball retention on.
But you'd say like from, I think even though we were talking about before, I remember we did the pre-game, right? Yeah. Talking about from the arena to FNB and all, but I think from a South African perspective, it was a win.
Yeah. I think South African football won on the day.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think South African football won. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is great, 100%. But now I want us to get into the tactics and actually what went on the game. But I want us to, we're going to start with the team.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when we did the preview of the game, we did lineups. The tactics, what Mpoza did the Mamelodi Sundowns lineup. So I want you to start this now. In terms of Kamkhobone Mauti, in terms of the setup, the lineup that you predicted versus the lineup that actually went out to the game.
Yeah.
There was another show you spoke about the gear. Bo rocky ba ba. No bo ka makia ndona. Bare matlazana. But Donna, from the setup you're down, so in terms of from the lineup, in terms of how you saw the game played out from a Mamelodi Sundowns perspective, we won it, Chaka.
I think again from the weekend, Kili 7, 8, 9 out of 10 all round.
Yeah.
I think the lineup was, for me, it was almost obvious after the way they played against Algeria. Why change it?
Sure.
Because what we predicted on the show, I think anyone could have predicted that.
Yeah.
Or it would be the same lineup, and it was. It's just that Sales got injured and Santos replaced him. So I think the lineup was, you would expect it, for them to continue with that. I think in terms of the approach to the game, Sundowns Europa, guys. Sundowns Europa, Joe. They've just got too much quality. But I think the approach to the game was they played like champions.
Yeah.
They played like a team that knows how to play big games. It almost felt like sometimes they made it feel like a Champions League game.
Yep.
They came there and you could see the approach was, we are in charge. We run at this thing. Mm-hmm. They decided.
Yeah.
They dictated the tempo of the game. We know Pirates like to play this high tempo football. Mm-hmm. Downs did not allow that. They kept the ball. They punished them. And in terms of tactics, I mean, I have to know about what tactics. For me, the few things that are picked up that I thought stood out for me, right? So before the game, there were certain things, dynamics that you think about. The fact that Pirates basically attack with 5 players. Aurelia, Polis, whoever playing on the wings is going to come in. The 2 wingers, the 2 wing backs getting forward. So it was those kind of things. And I think what we saw from Sundowns was a combination of excellent coaching. We have to give Lord Cardoso his credit. And also just the quality of the players, how they executed. Because you can have a tactical plan, but it's how the players executed at the end of the day. So if I can just pick a few things, not to waste time, that stood out for me. I think using that Hugo Broos cheat code on the right, I think it really worked in this game. Because you basically had 2 players who were almost playing 2 positions.
Yeah.
Sailor Ningding, he's like in a back 3 is like a right sighted centre back in a back 3, meaning when Rele comes in, he picks him up. And then Morena was excellent as well because he then becomes part of a 5. Tracks back when Hoto tries to come up. So I think that was the one thing I thought worked very well. The midfield of it. Yes. Jaden Litebza. You know when I was watching Jaden and Tebza play, I was thinking, especially for you guys, Lindo, you coach youngsters, ne? If you ever want to show youngsters how to play football in a simple way, play in a 2. All school playing in a 2. The way they kept their shape, everything, I thought it was great. And the other thing that stood out for me, which is worth mentioning, was the role that Matthews played. I thought Matthews was excellent. Mm-hmm. He played off the ball. Mm-hmm. If you watch all the goals came because Matthews had one job. He kept pinning the right wing back. Mm-hmm. He'd draw him inside, make sure that there's space for Aubrey. And then sometimes he would even come a bit deep. You could see the midfielders are Pirates really confused. He sometimes even occupied 2 players. And that's why Sundowns had so much space for Aubrey on that side. So yeah, overall, I think Sundowns tactically, 10 out of 10. Great performance.
Okay. I think just a quick question in terms of the way Pirates never press Jaden was that a tactic from an Orlando Pirates thing or we won it wrong?
So what I saw, I mean, obviously you never know because you don't know what was the discovery. But what I observed is that it's almost like Sundowns were baiting Pirates, and Pirates would take the bait. Right, so they'll build. Even the goal came like that. They'll build up, but they'll take the ball back, and Jaden was always the way out because I have a faith the Lundo will unpack Pirates. Okare Masindi was assigned to try to press Jaden. Hey, it didn't go well. And you could see Sundowns set those traps where they would sort of invite the press. Yep. And as soon as Pirates took the bait, Jaden had the quality, the composure, to find a way out, and Sundowns would be out and they'd be attacking. So I thought, yeah, Jaden was crucial for how Sundowns played.
Sure, boys. Anything? No, before we get into Pirates,
yeah.
From a Mamelodi Sundowns perspective, anything that you guys saw that you'd like to add on to what Mpo was talking about? Even if you want to single out players and whatnot, I think maybe this is the time that we do that from Mamelodi Sundowns. We'll get to Pirates.
Tibos, you look at how Sundowns set up again.
Yeah.
And then you look at how Pirates set up Leon. And then you take the first 15 minutes of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're probably thinking Pirates has got a very clear chance of winning game.
Yeah.
Do we now say from Lord Cardoso set up on Elejwang? If they take those two chances, do we now say that whole Sundowns, the way they played, do we give them credit for that?
So
I would say
you're saying if Pirates had scored, could have been a different ball game.
Because in the first 15 minutes, Pirates had
they got chances,
two clear chances.
Yeah.
At least one of them should have been in the back of the net.
Mm-hmm.
And then probably Sundowns, minute 20 to 25, that's when they started passing the ball around. That's when they took charge of the tempo.
Yeah.
But besides that, Sundowns did a really good job. You could see how they moved the ball, how they interchange position, how they're trying to confuse the Pirates players into shifting their responsibilities with the players. Yeah, but overall, that's Lord Cardoso.
Shout out to the Lord.
For me, I think the context and the summary or a narrative of the game revolves around ball retention versus attacking. I think it revolves around control and emotion. I think Orlando Pirates had the attack. I think they had the opportunities, but I think they were a little bit, Bebarasha. When they got into the thirds, more especially in the transition, I think they could have made better decisions. Those decisions could have resulted into goals. With regards to the Mamelodi Sundowns side, before I speak to Orlando Pirates, there's a couple of things that I'm impressed with. And there's things that I'm not impressed with, more especially with how we started the game and how we were open and how Orlando Pirates could open us. Mamelodi Sundowns is known for control and being comfortable on the ball, and how we access the thirds or the spaces or the pockets is through how we build up from the back. And Orlando Pirates, credit to the front five, because in the initial phase of the game, they created a lot of opportunities by counter-pressing. I think their goals, even the first opportunity and the second opportunity, which is the cross from Moapolis to Umbutuma, comes from that initial and the second phase of the counter press. But there's two things that I like at Mamelodi Sundowns, and this is a learning curve for me as a coach, that things need time. Number two, you need to give ideas time to unfold. The Matthews and the Aubrey thing is something that we criticized for so long, that Matthews would hug the touchline and Aubrey would invert, but they would always catch us on the counter, because nothing is perfect in football. And then you would find the space that we are vulnerable, more especially when we play against wingers that are dangerous in terms of decision making and running the space and eating the space. So that was a concern. But let me tell you, in that day, that was the best combination on the pitch, because away from Jaden with his responsibility to link with the defense and link with the forwards, Aubrey had the responsibility. He had a top game. What a football player! What a player!
We always emphasize, or there's no left back. Aubrey
that combination between Aubrey and Matthews, I thought Matthews was incredible. You look at that run that Brian Leon makes. The first action of the game comes from Matthews. Matthews, they build out from the back. They find Aubrey. Aubrey finds Matthews in the pockets. Matthews plays a reverse pass to Lenduza. Incredible defensive action from Usbisi by coming across to help Usiema. The second one happens again based on Aubrey playing that deep. Usiema anticipates that ball, but he keeps making that run. You need a striker that understands the movement of the wingers. Sibi's connection. Sibi's a chemist. You understand? And not to single out players, but that left-hand side, attacking Mamelodi Sundowns, I thought was incredible. Aubrey Mutiba, with giving them volume and depth and width, because the depth in quality in terms of how he receives and always has an extra pass. He plays extended extra forward passes as well, with the link of Matthews going into the pockets and occupying those spaces. The second thing that you have to mention is Jaden Adams. I think that he's outgrown discomfort. I think there's a period in his life where he said, I'm tired of being comfortable. No. I'm tired of being comfortable now. Can I show my qualities? No. Everyone enters that stage in their life where they feel other people don't appreciate them. I think we all want to feel loved and appreciated. Sometimes talent is not enough. I believe what Jaden has displayed in the last couple of games and in that game, in that midfield, is that it's not football talent. In my opinion, it's football intelligence. There's things in football that are just beyond talent. And for me, it's football intelligence. It's another level. Spatial awareness.
Yeah.
From a special awareness
Yeah.
in terms of the tempo of the pass,
Yeah.
in terms of dictating the game, in terms of the element of surprise as well. Because everyone was surprised in terms of the element and how Jaden would pick the pockets into midfield. The tempo at which Mamelodi Sundowns played in midfield. I thought Orlando Pirates struggled with the tempo in midfield, more especially when Mamelodi Sundowns got into the groove and they started dancing. And for me, from Mamelodi Sundowns' perspective, clinical in terms of where they are in the season, every championship team understands control in these last stages of the season. And Mamelodi Sundowns is not an emotional team. I think we saw some parts in the game where they had the ball. We saw some parts where they were defensive. They understood that we need to
They suffered very well.
Yeah.
we need to suffer.
They suffered very well.
And those are international club players.
Besides
Yeah.
the first 15 minutes, where
Yeah.
they suffered very well after that.
Those players understood that we had to suffer.
Yeah.
And in the thirds, they were clinical. In terms of the delivery of the pass, the goal got Aubrey was 21 passes. Unbelievable build-up in terms of the
26.
Is it 26? Am I correct? Am I wrong? 21. 26.
26 passes.
There you have it. It's 26. So for me, the control, that's why I always give those, that's why I speak about the level for me. I think sometimes some of those players at Mamelodi Sundowns have a level above, just above the PSL.
I think, guys, we've spoken about the Sundowns midfield, right?
Yeah.
And we've said that they have the best midfield. This is one of the few things we agreed on.
By far.
By far. And something else I wanted to pick out. There's a player, Baraki Nuno Santos.
Yes.
Yeah. And we like Nuno. We spoke about Nuno like after first game. that he
Yeah.
played. Morning from first touch, right?
Special.
And they said, we said Nuno Mnati.
Quality.
Quality.
But unfortunately or fortunately, I like to read the room and what everybody else feels. After we said that, got a bit of abuse. But I'm not, hey, what's it based on? And
But one more. Like sometimes you don't need too much to see a special player.
So I think Nuno is the best 10 in the country.
I think so.
So repass him to
To the pass. So my thing is this.
What do you need from a number 10?
So the biggest criticism that I picked up, people are saying, well, if you take away his pass, what else? But I'm
What?
like,
What do you mean?
It's like saying if you take away Messi's left foot, then what? Well, that's
You can't take away football intelligence.
you can't take away. But also the other thing, what I would say about Nuno is that I think yes, you could argue that his all-round play could improve. He does lose the ball quite a bit, but at the same time, you must accept that if you want those kind of passes, the player's going to take a lot more risks.
Yeah,
Sure.
Right? And the more risks,
Normal.
the more risks you take, the more likely you are to lose the ball.
Yeah.
He's very and he's always looking to create something, right? And also you must understand that once you have two midfielders who are playing as well as Ebza and Jaden, they run the game, they defend, they dictate the tempo. Nuno does not have to worry about any of that. Basically, he's got one job. He needs to make sure that Sundowns create goals. And that's why he can have the leeway of losing the ball. By the way, did you see both goals? You know what was a common feature of both goals? Think of, the first goal, that pass by Nuno, right? But where was he when he played that pass? He was somewhere on the left.
Yeah.
He left Makaula. If you watch, Makaula tried to track him. The guy's always reading spaces. He saw a space. Aubrey inverted. Matthews pinned the right back. Nuno won a space at Canada. Finds a pass. The second goal, the one Aubrey pass up, shot that pass about Trent. Trent. That's Trent levels. Watch
Not
what
the first time, eh?
Watch what Nuno does. Again, Makaula tries to track him as they're building up. Eventually, he gets away. Nuno was on the right. Nuno is the one who finally gets the ball on the touchline on the right, plays it inside to Jaden, and suddenly Pirates was open. So it's his ability to read spaces and to find that pass. I think he's a special player, but he needs to improve his all-round game. I think slightly, and that will come as he gets used to the league and his team.
So forth.
Yeah, but I don't think he played well. On Wednesday, in my opinion.
Overall, he didn't. That's why his all-round players to improve. Yeah,
I think that I praise him a lot, Sibzin, but I don't think he played well, more especially with where the team needed him in the thirds and in the pockets where we could hurt Orlando Pirates, more especially in the first half.
Yeah.
If you look at the game model and how the team was structured, it was structured with the two number 10s occupying the zones that will force Ushibelebele and Ohoto to drag into midfield.
Sure.
So now you're choosing to say, Most Belebele, do I follow Matthews or do I stay wide and deal with Aubrey? So it was a very difficult task for them.
Okay.
Nuno ke special player, ne?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
O tlo fa pass, o tlo fa moment ya quality. Le ke yona ntho e metsang different.
For sure.
So mo fe ntho ya hore if ale groundong o tlo e thola moment ya hore a re korele. And o mo surrounda le motho o tshwanang le yone o dlalang blind side ya defender o tlo mo thola ka pass.
So ka run Leon Shematse.
Yeah.
A renga ka di goals tsa Sundowns, it's a different story. I don't think Nuno did so much besides passing. Because when I look at the goals, Hoto was on the right hand side as a winger.
Yeah.
Sibisi was more on the left.
And
the
he,
left back.
and he had 2 men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if you look at it like that, you'll say Sibisi is not the best person dilele position ya left back.
But it's still a great ball.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not a great
it's an
ball, but I'm just
incredible ball.
addressing
Incredible.
the goals.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Hore di tlile yang.
Yeah.
You could say Sharp, they moved the Pirates team into uncomfortable positions for about creating the goal team. Because you look at second goal, Matthews goes inside, Sibelebele follows. He doesn't have to follow. Close your space. Stay in your back for hold your position. That pass doesn't go through. So maybe,
Tsapone, this thing of following, ne?
sure.
I wonder why it helps to have people who know these things, who've
People
been
who
there.
played at the highest.
So the big difference, okay, check. Pirates was trying to do the same thing. Ne? Relo batla inveta. But if you check approach Kuliso versus approach Sibelebele was slightly. Why do you think when Pirates tried to do the same thing, Sundowns had the answers, but when Sundowns did it, Pirates didn't have the answers?
I address the Pirates.
Yeah.
Sibelebele, he signed as a right wing, calm right back.
Yeah.
He doesn't play right back enough
Okay.
to know what he must do in certain moments. If Omodao, he's bad.
That's his position.
Yeah.
He knows distances so, cover so. If move into space, I pass him on.
Yeah.
I close my channel.
So what you're saying?
Because you can't, if my winger goes inside, Kilomo down, he hasn't received the ball, already Kilomo mark. If they pin it behind me, whose fault is it?
Because what I saw Sailor doing, Sailor did 3 things. Sometimes when Rele came inside, and then Tapelo would take Hoto. Yeah. Sometimes, like it was
just interchange.
Sometimes he would go to Hoto and Morena would. Sometimes you'd actually assign Tebza. As Rele was coming in,
it goes like this.
Pass him on, yeah.
It goes like this. The closer to the goals,
yeah,
you don't necessarily pass people on. Okay. Then he follows in. Then Olo Tsama le motho hae. If he's far to the goals, you still have time to turn back and recover.
Okay.
It's that simple.
Right, let's do this then. Lindo, you gave us starting lineups up Pirates, eh?
Yep.
How you think they're going to set up, how you think they're going to play. And I think you literally got it right, except for... Okay, actually, you did get it right, because you said in terms of Masindi and Mbata, either or.
And I think Mbata was injured, wasn't he?
He was? I don't know.
That's the word out there.
Yeah.
But technically, you got it right in terms of the whole... You said Sibelebele right back, Rele on the left, Tito central, and all of those types of things. So maybe let's go into that in terms of the game, how they lined up, and your predictions according to all of that, and then just week 1.
Yeah, for me personally, when you're looking at the Orlando Pirates lineup, and for me, I think I spoke about it, and I think there's no narrative that I'm trying to build here. I think, but it's not even a quality thing, because if I spoke about quality, you would say maybe if they played Mbata and Mahopa, that's a better team in terms of a quality perspective. But I also felt like it's also what everybody speaks about in terms of development and the state of South African football and where we are. I believe that, Mina, the difference sometimes is not the technical and the psychological, but I think sometimes it becomes the development part of it. Players that have gone through development for the longest time have a certain level of tactical knowledge and a certain level of football knowledge and applications on the pitch in terms of certain principles of performance. Yeah. And I'm not saying the Orlando Pirates players don't have that, but the Mamelodi Sundowns, imagine starting that at 8, 10. And you understand the dynamics of South African football as well, that we don't have coaches that have the proper coaching education. And Mamelodi Sundowns was with under Coach Pito and under Coach Orlando. When they brought in players like Abo Grant Kekana, when they brought in Abo Tebza coming from Abo Hamon, Abo Grant with the background that they have in terms of development. And development not from a tactical perspective, but also from a technical perspective in terms of how you receive when the ball is coming from this direction or and yin half 10 and so forth. And it moves into a space where you look at the Orlando Pirates midfield. eMakaula, for example, into or out here mekhulele emhlaking.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just saying that maybe the type of coaches at that level will not compare to the level of Marcelo Allende that he got, a Jaden Adams that he has from a technical perspective. You can see from a spatial awareness to the distancing zones in terms of how they occupy space. They babashaye the football playing, basics.
Yeah, like understanding, like I said, the way Taves and Jaden rotate positions and
Details.
Pirates played well when they were emotional.
Yeah.
When emotional, not an emotional from a performance perspective.
Sure,
when they broke from a transition, you would see Tito lively. You would see when he had the ball, you could see he wanted to try to do something. You could see players wanted to try to do something. But the Mamelodi Sundowns players, even on the ball, under the most pressure, they were very controlled. The Orlando Pirates press as well was emotional, not coordinated. And the Mamelodi Sundowns players could find those pockets. And for me, the difference was that the development of the players. Mamelodi Sundowns has players that are tactically superior. And I felt that they played a game that is at the highest level. There's certain periods where clubs like Mamelodi Sundowns, Al Ahly, Esperanza, Wydad Casablanca, because they play, and I was having this conversation out here, and I was just listening to him, Metro FM, no Andile, Umahir. I just want to quote him quickly because I don't want to seem like, I don't want to sound smart all the time. It's okay to quote. It's okay. No, it's okay to quote other people. You don't have to sound smart all the time. But Umahir mentions something very important about the level at which Mamelodi Sundowns Al Ahly get to say these clubs they played Club World Cup, coming from a Club World Cup, because of the type of players that they have with international competitions with the AFCON. Some of their players, it's like a diesel car. They take longer. And this is the right time in the season where they're a little bit sharper, where form is coming, is starting to happen. And the Mamelodi Sundowns, you see what Jaden, it's not a fluke. You can see the type of striker that we brought into the club in terms of decision making. He is a space eater. Matthews is starting to show up. Tebogo Mokoena is starting to show up. Ronza had a 9 out of 10 performance, if not a 10 out of 10 performance.
9.8.
9.8. Kulisho Mdao. So you're looking at the Mamelodi Sundowns. There's so many things that I did not like in terms of opportunities that we gave you, Orlando Pirates. The build-up process in terms of when we were under pressure, more especially in the critical phase of the game. But you have to give certain players in terms of performance, in terms of dealing with emotions. Because, Tshepo, the less emotion you are, the better we are going to play. Those players understand that. Yeah. It's an institutional mentality. It's football intelligence. It's not talent.
Okay. You know, sometimes some teams are pushed by emotions. You get teams that say, wena ngeke ungihlule. Leyo emotion yokuthi ngizogibela ngizokubonisa. Sometimes yawadrive ama-team. Kunokuthatha i-moment eyi-one ukuthi maybe uTito uyaligibela athi wonke umuntu avuke. So I just think it's moments ukuthi when are those moments had in the game influence abantu kanjani. Mara overall uyabo ibhakaniya mfethu. Nasi mina ngibheka ama-chance abawayenzile. I-first chance leyo uRonwini yithi ngenyawo. Itheme ngithi ngavele ngathi here we go again.
Untextile after they missed the second chance.
Touch in the box. You know what's the first initial thought? Take a touch in the box. Take it 2 touch in the box. I always say to players,
and he actually had time,
2 touch in the box. 2 touch in the box.
Very
good. But it was in the middle.
But he was moving this way and with deflection.
The second one, Butuma should score.
Either side.
Butuma should score.
Even the one where you hit the post.
Yeah, that one normally I'm a bowler that come from wide with the one-touch finish are very difficult. If you've played football, you know there's a very difficult finish. That ball that comes wide where you have to just but sometimes you know
because you keep a shift he goes across.
The attempt was good though. The attempt was good.
Okay, there's something I want to also highlight, right? And there's been quite a bit of talk about this. Really, on the left, Nasheban Leseila so. That was a tough matchup.
Some belief.
So you look at Rele, Tito, Police, by interchanging game golfing. So I wouldn't say there was one person by saying
was that a good thing to keep interchanging like that?
Yeah, playing with 3 number 10s, I think it's a good idea.
There's nothing wrong.
There's nothing wrong.
Because
I like that system.
the qualities are ditshwane. Fullback e try to ke makile rele no o fitla
Yeah.
ito ka ntho ya hae so tlamela change hore no ke mo maka jwang.
Yeah.
Ai rele mfetho. So really he's one of those
you know,
players.
there's this thing, there's a narrative, and these narratives come up with a lot of players, right? There was a narrative we dealt with ka Obza, but Obza zebumaka. Well, Ramon nadlala udlet ku AFCON umakile, right?
Tsepo say Rayo onto
Yeah, you actually said
Rayo onto yeah.
And there's this narrative for a
Relegated.
and then maybe sometimes big gamey in alomkwenyanyana.
But let's Sundowns last time but winner 2 and
Thank you very much.
Yeah, this thing really doesn't play. Who really plays against Sundowns? Nedbank Cup final, remember? No, man, he can play big games, but I think on the day it was
big player
it wasn't his day. It happens. Yeah. We've seen Messi have off days on that narrative, yeah, big game, what.
I would like gaming Sundowns le reile mfetho.
Yeah.
For talent ya reile for influence na leng yona ko Pirates. There wasn't a moment where you felt or really to refer something. No sabone or really ha receive a ball in certain spaces o etsang ka yona hore na ba mo support yang o na ba imetse hore e be individual brilliance. Hore maybe ke pressure a ipetseng mo yena hore every time a tshwere ball o tlamile ho be le something e tlo etsalang. Because sometimes I need or assist or I tshware I fitise a tswe mo dilong I keep it quiet nako ba mo lebetse a vumbume.
Yeah.
One toll.
Let's look at okay.
But also, isn't it also maybe sometimes in those kind of games, isn't it or example it's a different level? And isn't it or maybe remember the rest of the team is not functioning as it usually does. And now you're expecting really to step up and do all these amazing things. Isn't that also a factor?
No, for me.
Like midfield or high, for example. Midfield about Fagilin a slow cooker. Jaden Litebs are cooking them the whole day. Now, honestly, like, isn't it sometimes...
For me, it's multiple reasons, but the midfield is also a reason why. That's why I was talking about the development part of it, because you can see that Umasindi, Daba, Mambutuma, they still need another year or another season at Orlando Pirates to learn how to play game of consequences, because it's about fine margins. But when you even look at the relay thing, I think that... Urile is a player that you play for him, not to him. I think that you build a team around him. I think Orlando Pirates this season has had the depth. Of course, you can question the quality, but the depth in terms of, you know, having the variety of playing in Apolis or Muremi, then really had his injury problems and all of those things. But you can, for me, you get the best out of Urile when you play for him. The game model should revolve around him. Everything should go through him. He should always be the first point of attack. He should always be a player that you are looking for into the pockets, because he's got an element of his surprise as well. So for me, the fact that he didn't have a good game revolves around the team as well. I think it's a team performance. But also the
that's what I'm saying. The whole team is not functioning
but the crucial one as well, to get the best out of Urile. To get the best out of Urile. You can't rush when you go into the final third. Those are players that play with intelligence in the thirds. Players that play with swag. Sometimes they delay and they wait and badala get walking pace. And that is important to open space and to decide the game. Timing. Everything, every first touch, they play rush. No, a police will be stretcher. You'll never get no type of the best. If you to get the best out of me, I'm not a space eater. Let's
yeah. Let's
so do we say really position matter, or where do we put it?
I think it's more. I think it's the performance of the whole team.
Yeah,
I think it was just. But it's also like we've heard talk about, like Uboni. Every time he came up, for example, against Kuliso, it happens sometimes. Like Kuliso was just dominant.
Football.
It's football. It happens. It was one of you've had those days, ne? Like
I
knew it.
Okay, sorry.
Actually, talking about Ufetleliwa, we had Mamelodi Sundowns 2 goals are very similar. Almost this very same goal in terms of Brian Leon running behind. Sebundona, no defender, you played at the highest level.
Centre back,
as a centre back, how do you stop that? What needs to happen?
Like I said, you have a keeper, you have a back four. Back four is spanner fail. How you move, the spanner fail. If this one goes press, then it's a 3. La Mukav. If bolo e fair go halfway, why am I jumping? Why am I jumping to go press? Ke pressa motho o senang ball. The striker it's difficult to the mark. It's a blind. Because bolo ya mover, you now move opposite to ball. And when all defender, you're forced to move this way.
Ball. Yeah.
You find CBC had one person in front of him, he had another one behind him. CBC argument ya gore ke o motho wa ka.
Wait, sorry, which goal? First goal.
First goal.
Okay, okay.
Pasia
Nuno. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So CBC could easily say, ke o motho wa ka, ke bona one. And as a center back, bolo e move kako. Naturally, if it's on the side, the opposite center backs were big.
Wasn't the first mistake to have CBC? Remember, CBC na magila batho too.
Yeah.
Because Otto was found. I think.
Na batla go right wing.
Otto else was correct. No, I think because it was coming from a free kick. Nature from a free kick or something. Wasn't that the first?
No. The context, Orlando Pirates attacks, they play a deep diagonal dodge into the box. Tito has a very good first touch. He wants to take a touch. They foul him in the box and a clear-cut opportunity. But Tangalazile, at that moment, they take the pass. They play a deep diagonal dodge in a transition with a technical run as well from
How did Otto end up there?
But also
he should have recovered because it took a while from the time they won the ball from Tito's thing.
I just feel like it team that is a coaching thing, in my opinion. I wouldn't blame Osbisi or any team. I think that the rest defense can be better. You need to anticipate. That's the most modern football is moving to a space where you need to decide and to decide on your defense resting when you have the ball and when you're in the attacking thirds when it's up. And for me, the rest defense was terrible in that action. Not every action is perfect in football.
Sure.
But in that moment, the rest defense did not come to the party because Orlando Pirates were too open, in my opinion. But the ilama emotions, that Sundowns had the control, but Pirates had they played a very emotional game, in my opinion.
But just on the let's take the first goal.
Sure.
From a defensive perspective, ne? Because obviously we know these things can happen, right?
Yeah.
If you are in CBC's shoes and you are seeing that first goal, right, as a defender,
sure,
what are you thinking? I could or should have done this.
So, listen, to be a little bit harsh on CBC, I'd say sharp. There was someone in front of him, but he could have easily stepped back. I quite offside
50.
Also, Sundowns mo afunya rona. Why was I press a ball? Because I can't hold the line if I want pressure mo polo. I'll be found wanting.
But I told you why they couldn't press the ball.
It doesn't
slow
matter.
Slow go midfield. Nuno found himself alone on the left. Nedishubile.
Besides, the principle is press up. If Lilo, including it, ngidala transition account. Ngiyazi mefika afina mele ngikurush. Because six afina ipaliselila.
Yazi mina ngicela ku-preview. Ngicela Trotman nje ubhodlela ngathi Trotman less mistakes. Less mistakes.
Guys, you're being harsh.
No, Mamela.
It wasn't that bad. It was a good ball.
No, Mamela. The pass from Ununo was exceptional. The ball from Opry. From
okay, that's the second goal. Let's talk about that separately.
Sure.
Second goal.
Yeah, sharp. Arkeni.
So, okay, that second goal, we've discussed dynamic. Yeah, Matthews dragging.
Sure.
Let's just take it from the pass. Yeah, Aubrey. So only Siema, because remember the ball if it is Siema first and then so Leon, eh?
Yeah, Brian.
Leon is somewhere in between. He runs from
CBC,
between the two center backs,
sure,
right? As a defender, right?
So
where do you attribute the blame?
Mamil, Sharpos Bilibili was wrong to jump.
Yeah, Baba Fedit.
Sharp. Yeah. And then Siema.
Yeah.
Polo a wide. Automatically. It's not in a far wide, high up the pitch.
Yeah.
For Baka Kenya cross yaori ube narrow le center back yao. You must shift towards the side ukwale polo ya space. Itang behind. Siema shifts a little bit. Bodlela wa big. If Siema shifts, Obri at Emelisa Tlo, Obona Siema will make spacing seal. Do you think Aubrey will put that ball there?
Ke mang o tshwantse a pick?
Who should pick?
Usibisi uyapick.
Yeah, mina
Yeah.
yeah.
Siema shifts across
Yeah.
to
Okay.
close the ball.
Close
coming in.
the angle. Close the
Then
angle.
Usibisi
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so you're saying Siema should come
Usibisi
across and close the angle like
But
that?
for context, you know what it does
Okay.
in that action, because
He's
there's
now-
three actions. There's three actions before the goal. There's the build-up process where they could have stopped the ball from getting to Opry.
Lindo, I understand the build-up process.
Mhm.
When you move as a unit, a mover, you awunandaba nokuthi abantu bamuva kanjani. You move in relation to the ball. Whether ukuthi
That's exactly what I'm explaining.
lo meke hamba eya le ibhola lingakayi kuye. Why ngiyo?
Yeah.
Ngicontrola ibhola.
You know what's the most profound thing you said?
Sure.
You said the strikers that are dangerous are the ones that play blind.
Sure.
And the most dangerous run in football is the dead man run. It's the run. That run went into the box. The anticipation, the best defenders, Tsepo, and the greatest leaders in football in terms of centre back. That's why about their position, people who know how to take responsibility. No, serious. Is Tsepo. Awazi. No, serious.
Lindo,
Idlala abantu abathrowile their position.
I still say, lalela.
No, my man, because Usbisi uyayiyekela le clever ijoke boxing and take. And that short sprint from Ulen to anticipation,
Lindo.
you can't wait for the mistake.
Okay,
and then
guys, can I
react
just give a
after.
different perspective?
Yeah.
But at the same time, so let's be honest. We watched the PSL. We've watched it for years. Ne? Also, guys, let's be fair on CMA and CBC. Ne?
Sure.
There's probably only 3 players in the PSL who make that pass.
Yeah, fair.
Like, let's be fair.
But-
Isn't it maybe, shouldn't we maybe just say it was a great pass, a
Mpo,
great run?
there's some things you can't run away from. Principle ki principle.
Okay.
Ball wa ile mo, I must go.
So the principle you are saying, the takeaway is what?
You shift across.
Shifting across.
Should have
okay.
closed the angle.
You shift
That
across.
pass is
Siema
not on.
closes angle. Bodlela wa marker tight.
Mm.
Done.
Pass is not
Allow
on.
these men to go away. Yeah?
Outside kwale kwa, it's a simple thing in football. There's no player in the world, I'm telling you right now.
Mistake.
I'm gonna give me more spacing moli.
Mistake.
Abakenya ball.
Mistake, yeah, man. Simple.
First one Belebele,
Yeah.
second one Siema, third one Bodle. In that order.
In that order.
Liba was pressing.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
No,
Okay.
Pressure.
because that's why I'm saying there's 3 parts where they could have stopped the ball, in my opinion. Because even when the ball got into midfield before it progressed into because every time I always mention this, Tebzin, the way we use the field is divided into 5. There are 2 wide areas. There are 2 half spaces and the central space.
Sure.
We use the wide space as the first point of attack. Exit points. When the ball gets into Opry, that's the first point as defense when we don't have the ball to react. More especially when the ball is in our thirds. We're in our half to say we cannot allow them to play progressive pass. That pass was progressive and forward. They should have anticipated or pressed the ball carrier. The second part is the ball that goes onto the box. The anticipation from the captain, from the leader, the man who's supposed to carry the team, in my opinion. You do not allow and that's the part I'm going to say. There's people that allow other people to make mistakes and then react after. Usbisi should have anticipated. The greatest defenders are the ones that anticipate. Sometimes kuna defender ngana pace, but bakshanga anticipation near reading the game.
Yeah.
That's why if you say
But guys, but
you
guys,
never allow
Tsepo,
the
you know what I think, ne?
Yeah.
Maybe you can just for me, just watching, ne? Just for
So-
some, I just feel like sometimes, ne? When we sit back and we watch things, I can remember we've now got the full camera view. We can see all the things that went wrong. Donna Bara, please explain to us the difference between us sitting here, Shevile reading, and real time.
Ja, give the seconds, give the moments.
It's seconds, ne?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And quality, sometimes you fa decision ya hore o tlo nka 1 second, o tlo nka 3 get la cover.
Okay.
Ola re 1 second o sits.
Yeah.
Yeah, cover take.
But now I still say principle ki principle. You can never run away from that.
See,
It's like
Siema
basic-
shift across and closes.
Yeah, also basic defending ya ball. Abakena hafung ya hao, you force them outside because balao emo. Abale hafung ya bona oba marker, you force them inside or it's a mistake or straight. That's
Guys,
very basic.
The funny thing is, you guys keep saying, hey, Sundowns wants to come through the middle, so force them out. They force them out.
Okay, wait. Back to
But
that.
quality passes,
Back to that.
blindside run, quality movement.
Yeah.
I
moments.
think before we wrap it up, there's one more thing I want to talk about.
Sure.
Nchaka wa makia. Change. Gear 4.
Kopa re bue ka Tito nyana.
Okay.
Okay.
It's fine.
What do you
Let's
think
allow
of
that.
performance ya Tito? Ucabanga mngani wami?
You know what? There's Utito is a generational talent. Let me start there. I think from a talent perspective, I think we can all agree that he's a super talented football player. I just think that, like I spoke about, I think some of our players lack the coaching education. You can see the difference sometimes. But in terms of performance, because that's the question, I think he played exceptionally well.
Sure.
I think he was one of the best performers for Pirates on the pitch. I think he played that central number 10 very well. I think he tried to link the defense. Nemta Jela did not come to the party for sure. I think with Nemta Jela, maybe or Mbata into that space, it would have added another layer into that Orlando Pirates midfield. But I think that Utito played exceptionally well. I think him running the thirds, one of the few number 10s that can play off the ball, which is a very impressive quality. You know, that action that led to the Orlando Pirates goal could have been better for sure,
Yeah.
which could have changed the dynamic of the game. You know, the touch could have been better, the control could have been better. But you look at the overall performance in terms of playing the thirds, in terms of the link up in midfield, in terms of the influence, the psychological drive, which is very important, because when the team sometimes is losing, you normally see players that normally rise above that. And I think he did that.
When are we putting the question away?
Clearly, you're
What do
thinking
you
something.
think? You definitely
quality
have an
fan.
opinion
Think
about
about
Tito's
Like,
performance.
Quality, mfana, quality. Wa bona e rile ba
Lazy
montsha.
ball.
E rile ba montsha, ai,
Yeah,
ai, because he was the one player.
was
One
doing
player
something.
ku midfielding ya Pirates.
Would look like doing something.
Una hold a ball, una zama to create a chance, una driver o ya ko pele.
Yeah.
E rile ba montsha kae. Would I have?
Yeah, and then Darren Kulmani, that last ditch tackle, penalty, yes, no, maybe,
No,
clean.
no, clean.
Took too much time on the ball.
Nah, if I had to make that tackle also, clean nja. I wanna refer to be penalty mo. Quality. Quality.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Ke yona ke game mang ya Sundowns and what?
Yeah, I think it's the conversation, and I think a lot of Pirates fans don't really like that thing. Yeah, hey,
Yeah.
you're on top now, but Sundowns are still finding their,
Yeah, their level.
But I
How
think
many games left?
Isn't it 14?
we now 14 games left, right?
still time.
And I
It's
mean,
still a lot of football.
all we were saying was, guys, Osali early, because everyone was saying the league is gone. Sundowns will never catch up, and all we were saying was, this is a quality team. Yes, they may not be at their best now, but we kept saying Trophy March, and you're gonna see that quality start to come out. And look what's happened since then.
Aye, guys.
Must be 53. We keep 50.
53.
53 million.
Redlala twins. Did say 2.5?
You know, Sundowns, in my opinion, reminded the league who they are. I think they reminded everybody who are champions. And also the biggest lesson to learn as well when at Zin is that when the league becomes uncomfortable, Mamelodi Sundowns becomes clinical.
Guys, I still say, man. Go text the
Overall.
Back of the net, Inja. Pagania le emisa ko koning. Ki 2-0 score.
Yeah.
Game bulele for Pirates.
It could have been a different narrative.
Yeah.
But
Because no
let's just
quality
say-
Sundowns
wait.
Italy.
let's say Sundowns scores.
So you say
no, Pirates
Pirates
scores.
is
ne?
2-0 up. Pirates is 2-0 up.
I'm with you.
Kana
ne?
go,
I'm with you. ne?
Onana game pans out the same way.
But remember, I think also this thing of saying 2-0 up, because obviously if they score the first goal,
It changes the game also.
The pattern of play
Yeah.
changes.
Sure.
Then the second goal doesn't happen, right?
Sure.
I just think, Ntwana, let's say Pirates had scored, ne?
Sure.
I feel like remember when we had the conversation about the squad, right? And we compared the players. We said, forget form, just look at the players at their best. And we agreed that Sundowns have.
Is this in relation to score say 1-0
Yeah, in relation score, we said 1-0, ne?
for Pirates?
Yes.
Okay.
I just feel like in any given game, to beat Sundowns, you need three things to happen. You need luck on your side, and you need to take your chances, like the one. Let's say they've
Sure.
taken their chance, but I also think you need Sundowns to be slightly, because I don't think the difference between Pirates and Sundowns is that big.
No.
So, but you need maybe Sundowns to be slightly off, and for Pirates to be at their very best, right?
Okay.
I just feel like when this version of Sundowns pitch up, Ntwana, like.
Yeah, they reminded Pirates.
It's
that
hard.
they're-
Even if
tough.
Pirates score first, you just. But I do agree with you. Maybe if they had
That's
scored,
because if
Eish,
Pirates
Mara.
scores first, they've got something to play for also. Banale something go beki. When ungaphana ngamaswidi akho sewela. Ungamnika.
but
Ngamnika boy.
Ungangipha.
Mara ngiyathatha ngithi. Awunginiki ngiyathatha.
Because also if Pirates lead, Sundowns ibula more.
But speaking of the gears, I think
But
I think we're seeing it now. I think
Do you think Sundowns are about to kick on now?
yeah, I think Lord Cardoso is now slipped into fourth gear, and it's building up.
Yeah.
It's building up. Yeah.
But it's difficult, coach, but it's not a conversation for today. Really. Gents, last words in terms of the game overall. Anything else that you feel like you wanted to say that you have not said? Speak now, forever hold your peace.
kopa ba re dishele soccer so waya mfana. Ke le wa di support batle stadium mfana wa bona ae.
So we have another blockbuster next week. Ne?
Eo ba pusha machita ba etsa standard sa league ya rona e ko dimo. Betway ae ba vogile.
Asibukile boy. Pepisto.
For me, I think that Mamelodi Sundowns reminded the league who they are. I think they've reminded the league that when it becomes uncomfortable, they are clinical. I think that Orlando Pirates are learning to be chasers, and Mamelodi Sundowns understand how to win this thing. And I think that Mamelodi Sundowns have the psychological, it's like the psychological, I don't know what word I'm looking for, but
Advantage.
they have the psychological
Edge.
advantage ahead of Mamelodi Sundowns or ahead of the Orlando Pirates. And I just feel like the Orlando Pirates players just need to keep their heads. The Orlando Pirates players need to keep their heads up. And I just feel like Mamelodi Sundowns also, more especially from a player perspective, I think they just reminded us that they've got another level just above the Betway Premiership, in my opinion. And I think that individual players showed that they want to go to the World Cup. I think that's also another motivation into that space. But a beautiful spectacle, beautiful event for South African football. I think the Betway is on the roll. Bashilo batilise kazini namanje batisibonise and win. So I guess
Clean boy.
Thank you.
Oza.
Ntwana moti ba ringele ka ska isenya ntwana.
Akupani ne. Kenofere. Predictions still stand. Think overall consensus.
Pirates for the league.
Yes sir.
Pirates for the league. Mamelodi Sundowns for the league.
Sazodlala TV matoda. Hey.
For me, I'm still sticking. Yeah, no, derby is going to be interesting. I do see Kaizer Chiefs causing an upset, actually.
Yo, that would be something. Marae, anyway, ladies and gents, like, subscribe, do the right thing. We out here. We're going to be probably with another episode after the derby. Maria, arkopa in comment section. Let's go rock. Arbueng hantle. Kalkopa.
Bulang pile.
Yeah.
Bulang di pelo.
Bulang di pile.
Tango.